they were made to such geometric precision. How is an 1800 civilization able to create star grids, star cities from above, viewed from above, to amazing accuracy? That each and every canal is in exactly the position that it is. We're told that they were forts. How on earth would they make? Why would they make a fort for a start with geometric precision at exactly the right angles? And secondly, why is every country in the world got the same idea of how to create this fort? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But when you think of it as what it is the surrounding of the electrical grid, and that's where they harnessed the living water, and then distributed it throughout the world. And they didn't have the technology to even view these things from above. So how did they do it to such geometric precision? If you don't know what I'm on about, research these star grids and Amsterdam canals from above, and you might not come up with it straight. You have to do a little bit of research, but you will eventually get these pictures. They're hard to find, but they are there or even go on Google Earth yourself, and you can look at these star grids, and these were just all around our world, and they were the pinnacle of the old world's technology. A lot of these canals have been drained now, and they're just empty, empty canals, aren't they? But they don't look exactly how they were in the olden days. Nowhere even close. But Amsterdam, Dresden, they're the nearest that you can get to what it was. And but once you realise the actual scale of these grids, the electrical, what they could achieve with this electricity would beg a belief, really. And they didn't just use water in this electrical idea that they had. They used sound as well as water. They used sound, electromagnetism, water, and ether from the atmosphere. They extracted the ether from the ionosphere. But by using sound, they used geometric patterns. If you look at the churches, you look at the mosques, they have these. They are capacitors. They're magnetons, cavity magnetrons, but they're circular with geometric shapes. The churches have put glass in them now to look like windows, but they didn't have glass in them originally. They played frequency sound through the organs. They played it through these shapes, these geometric shapes, to emit and they vibrated the ions inside the magnetrons, which then created this the energy to use for the whole system. And it's all to do with energy, vibrating ions, and then they harnessed it with all of the other things. We don't know exactly how they did it, but we do know is that they used water, sound, ether, and electromagnetism in this whole grid. And then they had the battery, obviously, to store it inside these empty shells that they have in every church, every mosque. You see it in even towns around our realm. When you see these empty, at the top of the church, you have columns, and there's an empty kind of a little. It's kind of an octagon in shape, or it could be a circle, but it's empty, where it doesn't serve any purpose. But that's where the battery would have been, and it's so interesting, and it's amazing how they've managed to deceive everyone. Really, I mean, only now it's starting to come out again. But it's been right in front of our eyes for such a long time that it's so mind-boggling that we haven't even realised what these things were. When we're told that time and time again that these civilizations were stupid and they had no technology. All you need to do is look at these monuments, look at the history, look at the monuments like Stonehenge, like the Mauis. These probably weren't the part of this grid, but they were structures that were an impossibility for that generation. An impossibility, and I mean, there's zero chance that they could have done it unless they had technology so advanced that they would be able to complete these tasks. These mosques, these churches, they also had symbols on the top. They had symbols that would look like the designated religions. But that's what we're told. That we're told that the designated religions, church is Christianity, mosque is Islam. But if you look at the old pictures, They weren't originally they were religious in the sense that they thanked God for the free energy and thanked for the blessing of life. That's why they had the statues pointing to the sky, pointing to the stars, the heavens. They believed Jesus, of course, was real. God's real. That's why they knew that. They dedicated these buildings to God. But they weren't separate religions. They were one unified civilization. And that's why in the old pictures you see these crescent moon in religion signifies Islam. Then why in the pictures is there a crescent moon in Brazil on one of the these buildings when they even now they only have 1% of the population is Muslim? But then they must have had literally one or two. So why is there a mosque? It doesn't make any sense. That means that the word mosque, this crescent moon, it doesn't symbolise Islam. It symbolises a completely different thing in terms of these power stations. In terms of it actually signifies the power of Mercury and the power of the metals that they used, because Mercury was a big part in these grids. They used Mercury to do all sorts of things, and it's very difficult to explain. But the Mercury had the power to create a vortex, and it was if you use electricity with mercury, it spins around and creates a vortex, therefore vibrating ions at such a high rate that it will create free energy. And this mercury is one of the most important things inside these buildings. And it's absolutely unbelievable what they managed to achieve and what they've managed. And it's only just coming out now, and therefore we need to really look at what these buildings were, and we have to bring these people down once and for all, because we have to create this civilization again as advanced as they are. Look at what's going on now with their so-called climate change agenda. These were the same people that destroyed these free clean energy, and now they're using this fake climate change agenda to bring more control into humanity when we originally had free clean energy. These were the same people. So just look for yourself. Don't believe a single thing you hear. Don't believe a single thing coming from the mainstream media, because these are the mainstream media that have destroyed humanity for such a long time now. Look at your own information. Look, just use your common sense and use your eyes most of all. Look what's right outside the window. These buildings are power stations. They were power grids, and a lot of them were even red and white in colour, some of these power stations. Look at what the power stations are now. What colour are they? A lot of the power stations are painted black, red and white. It's not a coincidence. These were power grids as a power station. And we're going to do a bit of another part 3 to this soon. But for now, I just want you to think really clearly about when you go to a really old looking cathedral, mosque, or even look at an image of, for example, Milan Cathedral, just look at the size of it and look apparently who did it. People from a time where they were living in such a stupid state where they didn't even have the ability to travel around the world. They just had they had little sailing boats, they had horse and cart. They didn't even have cameras or anything to record these things. So how are they going to build these structures? It makes no sense at all, and there is no one who can ever justify it at all, unless they had technology that would be able to do these buildings. Thank you.